Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Tone-Based Podcast Series. We are back from Token 2049, and I just grabbed the man of the hour. Everyone is walking up to him, congratulate him on his speech. This is, of course, Charles Hoskinson from IOHK, and that stands for
Input,
Inside
Output.
Out Hong Kong? No?
No, input, output.
Oh, yeah, Input Output. I do that.
I love you too, Tone.
I love trolling Charles. It's been forever. He's been on my show before. So what was your presentation about? And everyone was very enlightened.
It was basically just about the path ahead. So I walked out and talked about the coming clash of the collapse of the legacy system and the choices we have to make for rebuilding the world economy and what blockchain technology can do and the potential pitfalls we can have.
So what are the hard choices that people will have to make?
The choices about privacy and control, ultimately. Who's in control of your money? Who can shut your money off? How much privacy you're going to have? How much metadata are we going to embed in the transactions? And who remembers that? Who has access to that? And compositionally, that involves your identity, your property, and your freedom of movement, and basically the freedom of movement of your value, your money.
So I completely agree with all of that. So where you and I disagree is how do we get there?
Of course. That's the point. And yeah, that was my other point, was that we live in a Darwinian environment. It's like a petri dish where we have a lot of competing ideas that are fighting each other, and it's survival of the fittest. So eventually a lot are going to die out, and the ones that remain are ultimately going to decide how the world economy runs.
Right. So, so what is IOHK, and what are you guys doing about this?
So IOHK is a software development and a research company. So we're kind of blockchain agnostic. We work on Cardano and Ethereum Classic, but we also try to improve Bitcoin when we can. So we write scientific papers. We've written more than 40. About 20 have gone through peer review at major venues like CCS and Crypto. And we extract from those papers protocols, everything from proof of work protocols to proof of stake protocols to the protocols that make light clients better to things that improve privacy, like zero knowledge proofs.
Okay, and so how's it been going, and like how big is the team? And like my big question is, I always find it, I always challenge whether everything outside of Bitcoin is sufficiently decentralized.
That's a good question. So we're at about 160 people. We operate in 16 countries from Argentina to Japan. Our enterprise setting is mostly Pan-African, and our crypto setting is worldwide. Now, in terms of Bitcoin and its decentralization, it's not a very decentralized ecosystem at the moment because of mining centralization, in my view. Now, this is a controversial topic. Some people disagree. But my view is if I can't afford the devices to participate, I don't have access to devices to participate, and even if I could buy them, I have to live in certain jurisdictions with subsidized power, then I'm in a position where that's not really a free and fair and open game. It's more of a position where an oligarchy or a small federation of actors are in control. And if you look at people who measure these things, they estimate less than 10 distinct actors control more than 51% of the hash power of Bitcoin. So, okay, if you are okay with that, that's fine, but I think we can do better. I think we can get more decentralization and a more egalitarian way of participating. But the question is, well, what is that? And there's a big open protocol discussion about alternatives or ways to improve proof of work itself.
Right, and this is the fundamental point of our debate. So is there any element of proof of work within the token involved in IOHK?
No,
or in Cardano, sorry.
We currently, for Cardano, use proof of stake, but we do have a proof of work portfolio. The Ethereum Classic is on a proof of work basis. And we've done some innovation there, like ASIC resistance and also looking for peer-to-peer mining pools. So if you like proof of work, we have a class of protocols for that. But we've been studying proof of stake very heavily. We've written 6 papers on it so far. So Cardano is a proof of stake product. And again, reasonable people can disagree. So, if you like proof of work, we have some things in our portfolio for that. If you like proof of stake, we feel we've done a pretty good job there.
Well, right. My problem with proof of stake is that the initial people involved get to have all the money going forward. How do you mitigate that?
Because they divest over time. I mean, nobody holds on to something forever. Let's say you have 100 people and you give them land. No one else owns land. They die, they sell land, they move on. So if you go 3, 5, 6, 10 generations, the land gets chopped up. I mean, I grew up in Broomfield in Colorado. For 20 years, I watched all these big ranches owned by families for 100 years turn into strip malls and turn into real estate development and golf courses and things like that. And it's the same situation. As the value of the asset goes up, as people's preferences change, as their investment theses change, they sell the tokens, and you go from one to many in terms of ownership. And I think that's a better way to do things than saying we're going to give a permanent class of people total control, and those people are mercenaries. They live outside of the system. especially if you have two protocols with roughly the same amount of hash rate. Because then my incentive is to destroy one chain and short sell that. And then it's called Goldfinger attack, and then mine the other chain after I've destroyed it. And I have no loyalty to these systems.
Right, but again, this is the fundamental debate. For me, for example, I don't believe in mining centralization because mining centralization was accused of happening in China. Now, I think there is so little mining in China. I think most of the mining a lot of the mining has moved to Venezuela because they have free electricity. Their problem is how do you get the equipment in there?
Right. But it's the same owners, it's the same actors. So the Chinese guys they didn't get drawn out of business. They just moved.
God, I've met so many miners that used to be miners. There are no longer miners.
They were miners who were profitable at $20,000 Bitcoin. But the big guys who've been in it for a very long time at $200 Bitcoin, they're still around.
But they're spending so much money to make a little bit of money. Especially in today's environment. And that's the capitalistic system that I am personally in love with and why I respect Satoshi for building it. And I still remain a huge critical proof of stake because those first 10 people that got that land will be forever rich by earning infinite amount of revenue by having other people use their land and profiting from it.
At the end of the day, they just have control over how the system advances itself. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up having stake pools regardless if you want pure proof of stake or not. And so what does it mean? It means you have a service class. Both Bitcoin and all POS systems have that. And the question is, who gets to decide that service class and what are the incentives of that service class to provide a high quality product, meaning fast confirmation times, censorship resistance, et cetera, et cetera. I think proof of stake is a very reasonable way of going about it. With the Ouroboros design, we can have about 1,000 stake pools. That's about 100 times more decentralized than where Bitcoin is today. And we can run this off of about 6 kilowatts of power for the entire system. That's all 1,000 pools. I got open source hardware I can run this on, whereas Bitcoin uses more power than Ecuador. You know, so it's a philosophical difference.
It is.
We're agnostic.
I know you have to run. I'm going to issue like one last topic since it was part of your last answer, being censorship resistant. How sensitive is Cardano to potential, governments coming in with their guns, or how critical are you to the system? For example, when people think of Cardano, everyone thinks of Charles Hoskinson. If Charles Hoskinson gets hit by a bus, what happens to Cardano?
Okay, it just keeps going on. We were decentralized from the beginning. We have 3 core entities, the Foundation, Emergo, and IOHK. If we go away, there's other people to carry the flag. And then in terms of censorship resistance, I think proof of stake is actually better because you can move power very quickly from one pool to another, whereas mining is a physical presence. You have to have a warehouse, you have the miners, and if it gets banned or police show up, then all that hash rate goes off and you can't move the devices. It's almost like the old argument, is Bitcoin better than gold? Well, I can't move gold easily, I can move Bitcoin easily, right? And so mining is the same situation in my view. But anyway, reasonable people disagree, right? Colin, this was so much fun, man.
Good luck. Yeah. I'm sure I'll see you at another conference. That was Charles Hoskinson of IOHK and Cardano.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Yeah, I continue to be critical of proof of stake, and Charles has been around proof of stake in forever. Started out with BitShares, then moved on over to Ethereum, and now with Cardano. So, man, we're going to be debating this forever. He's going to probably move on to yet another project. It's becoming a challenge, right? So we now have 3 people in the space that have been involved in creating 3 projects. Of course, we all know of Dan Larimer, who is now on his 3rd proof of stake project. We also know of Jeb McCaleb, all the people I am grossly critical of. McCaleb, started Mt. Gox and scammed Carpellis right into prison. He then went on to create the Ripple token. He then couldn't cash out the money and moved on to create the Stellar token. And he'll probably go and create another token. I continue to not believe in proof of stake. Probably a good time to give my reasons for that. I don't think it's very secure. I think that proof of stake continues to allow a small group of people to be perpetually rich on the forever printing of easy money. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can interview anyone else here as they walk by. I will try to find people I know. I hope you guys enjoyed the interviews yesterday. Brought you some really cool people, and this has been a pretty cool conference to interact with. Let me see how long my cord is so I can flag people down, or we can take a look at the price. That's the other thing that I can actually do. I'll be live for a little while, actually. I'll be live for like an hour, and I will try to pull in interesting people to interview. There are people around me watching. Let's take a look at the price. I have not looked at the price of anything so far today. I will be looking around for people walking by. I look at my own camera. I don't have my second monitor connected, so this becomes a little tricky to read your comments and look at the charts. Let's go to the charts, guys. Let's see what we got. All right, we're actually going to start off exactly where we left off yesterday with the S&P 500. The S&P 500 daily chart is now 3 in the morning, and I'm not sure if this chart updated. Let me double check that. I had that issue yesterday. Here's gold. Gold is sitting above the trend line, below the moving average. So gold isn't really going anywhere at the moment. So we'll leave that. Let's take a look at the S&P 500, and that's the weekly S&P 500. Hey man, how are you? Sorry, on a live stream, so you don't have a pass, right? No, I don't. Okay, that's right. Just hang here. All right, that updated. So here we go. Here's the S&P 500. So wow, so yesterday ended up being a pretty damn good day. I had absolutely no clue. That's why this current candle caught me by surprise, because yesterday when we were doing this, this candle was kind of sitting low. We are now above the channel. This is unbelievable. I am incredibly bullish the S&P 500. We are now on a 4 of 9 on a daily chart. It looks like the weekly has played its course. I told you guys to be very careful of this 9. This is not the type of 9 that I would consider a 9 to sell on, because the big drop had occurred on candle number 8 right into the support cluster. And now we've bounced. All we now need to do is close the week higher than the 8 candle. And I really think we can go up and challenge new highs. I would be shocked if we break new highs to the upside. Shocked in that how strong the market is. Not that like, oh my God, it's supposed to crash like a lot of stupid people have been predicting for the last 5 years. But shocked as in it's stronger than even I thought it was. And I thought the S&P was sufficiently strong. So that's pretty much, that's pretty much my view on it. This is incredible. I want to take a look at yesterday's intraday chart for 10 minutes, and then we'll go to Bitcoin. So here's yesterday, the 9 a.m. We just took off, and yeah, we're up all day. So that was really, really good. All right, let's see if anything interesting has happened in Bitcoin. So nothing happened in Bitcoin. We're still on a 6 of 9 on a weekly red candle, and not really going anywhere. It's still in a bullish posture weekly. We are totally neutral on the daily. The daily is a red 2, but it's not trading below red 1, and we're getting squeezed between these two moving averages. So Bitcoin is in a no trade zone on a daily chart, has a bit of a bearish posture on a 12-hour chart. It has a neutral posture on a 4-hour chart, and it has a bearish posture on a 1-hour chart, but it's sitting at horizontal support. It's being just stuck in a horizontal channel, and Bitcoin is just completely not interesting to me at the moment. I can take a look at your comments. Yeah, let's see. Someone says half of Americans are one missed paycheck from poverty. I have been hearing this for 10 years, that we are on the verge of a financial collapse, and the stock market is proving you wrong. So I don't know what more you want me to say. There are, you know, philosophical statements, and then there is the reality of the markets. I prefer the reality of the markets. And like I said, go try to get into a nice restaurant on a Friday night. Good luck. People clearly are doing okay. One day it'll end, but it's not going to be today. Everyone seems to have disappeared. Justin, son of Tron, was doing a little interview right there. This place was a mob scene, and I guess he walked away, and so did the mob. I got Seyfedin over there. I don't really have any interviews for you guys. And another interesting night of partying last night. Eventually, I'll get some sleep. Tomorrow night, tomorrow night, I will be going to Switzerland, and then it'll be all business about the conference. Speaking of the conference, understanding Bitcoin, understandingbtc.com. Understandingbtc.com. Please check it out. It will be in Malta. We'll be trying to educate people on how to properly use Bitcoin. One of those people is clearly myself. I have not had time to use Lightning. I have always struggled creating my node. Everyone says it's so freaking easy, and the reality is it's not easy. And I am technologically inclined. I have a master's in engineering, and I had trouble setting up my node. I had the most frustrating time setting up a miner. I think that setting up hardware wallets is not trivial. I mean, I've been doing it forever, but I can see how that's problematic. And these are the types of things we want to teach people to make sure that they do it right, because everyone still thinks that Bitcoin is too complicated. And I have to agree, in a lot of cases it is. And that's why we are putting this conference together. All right. I don't really see anyone I can interview at the moment, so I'm probably going to end the live stream. We took a look a little bit about the price. Charles was right next to me, so I decided to go live and give him a little airtime. I mean, look, can I do a good job talking about Cardano and explaining how bad Cardano is the way I do with Ethereum? Of course not, because Ethereum has proven itself of how incompetent they are. Cardano has only been around a year or two, so they haven't yet proven themselves how incompetent they are. But give them a little more time, and I'm absolutely sure that they will. But Ethereum has done it on several occasions, including the DAO situation, which is what caused Charles to leave Ethereum in the first place, right? So sooner or later, this kind of thing will happen to every project other than Bitcoin, because I don't believe they are sufficiently decentralized. But until these things happen, you have no, and they're going to happen sooner than later, because the Bitcoin can't actually have these problems because it's only a currency. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Just a little short stream. Took a look at the price. I don't really have much else to say, and I'm kind of exhausted. It's been a really long week and a half already with almost no sleep. So that's kind of been my life here in Hong Kong. All right, guys, I will leave you here. I was on a panel with Murad earlier today. I'm sure there'll be a video, so you will check that out. And I will talk to you all on the next one.